38.6 million people have filed first-time claims in the last 9 weeks. That's an enormous amount of suffering. What are you hearing?
Well, the suffering, unfortunately, is all too real. We're getting inundated with requests for help at my organization, Humanity Forward. I know nonprofits around the country are seeing the same thing. And we have to face fact that 42% of these jobs will not come back. You're looking at essentially long-standing or permanent job loss of 15 million plus. And for reference, the Great Recession cost us less than 9 million jobs. So you're looking at something almost 2 times the Great Recession permanently. This is one reason why I'm advocating that our federal government has to pass enormous stimulus measures to keep us from teetering into a new Great Depression, because that, unfortunately, is where we are heading right now.
And I know that connected to all of this, you have some big personal news you would like to announce on our program.
Yes, Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter and Square, has donated $5 million to my organization, Humanity Forward, that we're then going to turn around and give away to struggling Americans. We're going to give $250 to 20,000 Americans via our website, movehumanityforward.com. Unfortunately, we already have that number of requests and more, but the more money we take into our COVID relief fund, the more we will give out. And we are incredibly grateful to Jack for this $5 million, because it will improve the immediate situation for literally thousands of Americans.
And many people right now, the only situation they have is the immediate one. They have to get through today and tomorrow. But there is a pressure point that I would like your opinion on, Andrew, which is that when we're talking about the enhanced unemployment benefits of $600, I know that's different than a universal basic income when you're talking about unemployment benefits. But there are people now arguing that that payment is so high that it's serving as a disincentive for people to go back into the workforce. So a suggestion they can make more money on unemployment right now than they could be by trying to get a job again. So how do you address that?
Well, we need to get cash into people's hands. This is a crisis. But in my opinion, the cash would be better if it was unconditional. That way you have no incentive except to try and improve your own situation. And the reality, though, is if someone's looking for a job right now, this is going to be a very tough time, a tough environment to find a job. So anything we can do to help people is the right thing to do. But long term, we should be looking at different ways to get cash into people's hands unconditionally.
On that front, you tweeted something that I thought was so amusing yesterday. You said, "Remember when I seemed like a futurist? Those were the days." I mean, the fact that the federal government is doing something that people thought sounded radical when you suggested it.
Well, unfortunately, we're going through 10 years worth of change in 10 weeks. The trends I was concerned about people being sent home because their jobs were going to be automated away, we are experiencing a version of that. And I'm optimistic, at least, that we can accelerate some of the solutions as well as the problems, which includes putting money directly into Americans' hands. It's the only way we're going to help people get through this time. And I hope Congress moves more of the stimulus money towards direct cash relief rather than money to big companies.
If 42% of these jobs won't come back, Andrew, what happens to those people? Where do you think their future employment might lie?
If we don't do anything, their future is bleak. That's why we need a new Marshall Plan scale initiative to get millions of Americans back into the workforce, to rebuild the country. We should be hiring healthcare workers, people to literally rebuild the country in the form of a giant infrastructure plan, a mental health initiative, anything we can do to get people back to work, because we're in a deep, dark hole that will not resolve itself without some massive intervention, and that should be led by the federal government.